Hello, my name is Father John Delaney. I'm one of the Franciscan friars here at the Basilica of Our Lady of Walsingham, and welcome to join us here. Thank you for joining us for this 33 days preparation for the consecration to Jesus through Mary, using the method developed by Father Michael Gately. As we prayerfully prepare for the historic Rededication of England as the Dowry of Mary, we invite you to join us each day for a short reflection and prayer. Day 1. The Passionate Saint of Brittany. Take a look at a map of France. And now notice something about its shape. See how one part sticks way out almost as if it were running away from the rest of the landmass, ready to dive off into the Celtic Sea. That jutting arm in the northwest of the country is called Brittany, and that's where St. Louis de Montfort grew up. There's something special about Brittany that seems to have had an influence on St. Louis: its Celtic roots. Brittany is considered one of the 6 Celtic nations, meaning that the Celtic language and culture still survive there. And one part of the Celtic culture seems to have seeped deeply into the heart of St. Louis: the high-spiritedness of its warriors. From ancient times, Celtic warriors have struck terror in the hearts of their enemies. If you've ever seen the movie Braveheart, you'll know what I mean. Think of the fearless figure of William Wallace, played by Mel Gibson, and his crazy crew of Scottish Highlanders, who were to take on an English enemy many times their size. This shows something of the Celtic fighting spirit, but the real-life version is even more intense. Often wearing nothing but blue battle paint, real Celtic warriors would work themselves into a bloodthirsty frenzy, rush into combat screaming their heads off, and wildly slash, bash and slice away at their enemies with huge two-handed swords. These fierce fighting men, despite their lack of discipline, armour and order, were extremely effective in battle because of their unmatched passion and ferocity. Throughout history, nobody has wanted to mess with the crazy Celtic warriors. St. Louis' dad, Jean Grignon, must have been descended from these wild men warriors, for nobody wanted to mess with him either. In fact, he was known for having the most fiery temper in all of Brittany. As one author put it, he was a volcano frequently erupting. St. Louis, on the other hand, was as gentle as a lamb. Right? No, wrong. He confessed that his temper was just as bad as his father's. But Louis channeled his fiery passion not to threats and violence, but to labouring for the greater glory of God. When he died in 1716, St. Louis was just 43 years old, having been a priest for 16 years. Tireless labours bring souls to Jesus through Mary, especially by preaching an endless succession of parish missions. This brought about his early death. And as if these life-sapping labours weren't suffering enough, Louis had to bear vicious persecution from the clergy and the Jansenist heretics, even to the point of being physically attacked and poisoned by them. Despite all this, our indomitable warrior kept advancing on the battlefield, continuously preaching his trademark path to Jesus through Mary. In fact, when the leaders of the church in France thought they had put an end to his work, Louis walked the 1,000-mile journey to Rome and asked the Pope for his wisdom and counsel. The Pope not only told him to go back to France and continue preaching, but awarded him the title of Apostolic Missionary, obediently and joyfully our saint returned to France, where he continued to preach, to write, and patiently bear his many sufferings out of love for Jesus, Mary, and souls. St. Louis's passion and zeal lit a fire in a young Karol Wojtyła, the future John Paul II. A few years before his death, the Pope was able to realise a lifelong dream and visit St. de Montfort's tomb. He said on that occasion, "I'm happy to begin my pilgrimage in France under the sign of this great figure. You know that I owe much to this saint and to his true devotion to the Blessed Virgin." Now, what about us? Do we have a fire in our hearts as we begin this retreat? We should, or at least we should strive for it. Desire and generosity are the key ingredients to making a successful retreat. May Mary intercede for us, and may the Holy Spirit fill us with a passion to conscientiously make these days of retreat, despite any fatigue, distractions or obstacles. And let us remember that we may have to endure in terms of the discipline of prayer is nothing to that compared to what St. Louis went through. He'll be interceding for us. Relying on his intercession and that of the Mother of God, let us resolve right now to dedicate ourselves to this retreat with intensity and the zeal of a Celtic warrior, though without all the face paint and screaming. Today's prayer: Come, Holy Spirit, living in Mary, help me to make this retreat with generosity and zeal.